Senator Hunt, you're recognized to speak.
Thank you, Mr. President. You can hear from my voice that I'm under the weather, but I'm going to succumb to temptation and speak on this before I return to the quarantine of my office. Isn't it inspiring to be able to listen to your Nebraska legislature and see such a clear view into somebody's character from the things that they say on the microphone about our heroes, our first responders, who are dealing with deadly illness like cancer? I don't know about the argument from opponents like Senator Raybould that seem to be, well, everybody gets cancer. Cancer's on the rise. We're all probably going to get cancer. Well, yes. And for me, that's all the more reason to help these first responders who are dealing with it at a much, much higher rate than the general population, because directly as a result of the public service that they provide to us. Well, everybody's going to get cancer. Yeah, and we should help everybody. The measure that we have before us with LB400 is an opportunity to do that to some of our first responders, and I don't know why we wouldn't take that opportunity. Or things like Senator Jacobson said, that if you have cancer, money won't help. You know, that's really spoken like somebody who will never have to worry about money in his life. That's spoken like somebody who doesn't have to worry about paying his medical bills, which I'm sure are numerous. Of course money will help. Of course any assistance with hospital bills, with payments, is going to help. And that's what this bill could possibly bring to these families, many of whom, of course, are working class, are working 2 jobs, as has been stated on the floor here. All the better reason to support this bill. And then finally, what Senator Storm says, and others have chimed in as well, what about the taxpayer? I support first responders, but I support firefighters, but. What about the taxpayer? I'm here first and foremost for the taxpayer. Well, nobody has anything to say about supporting the taxpayer when we are opening an ICE facility in McCook as a landfill for people that has no rehabilitative purpose, as we see ICE disappearing people off the streets to our neighbors in the north, in Minneapolis, sending kids to El Paso without their parents. None of you stand up when we're talking about doing this in our own backyard in Nebraska and say, well, I stand for the taxpayer. This is going to raise property taxes because it's going to bring a lot of expenses to our state. That's not when you want to stand up for the taxpayer. What about this morning on the Davos in Brussels, where they're talking about Jared Kushner just gave a presentation about New Gaza, how they're going to build all these high-rises and make this Disneyland for American tourists on the graves of Palestinians in this war-torn region in the Middle East. I bet none of you are going to have conversations around your kitchen tables saying, oh, we really got to stand up for the taxpayer. This is not what I want my tax dollars going to. Only, colleagues, when somebody stands to be helped, do you all of a sudden stand up for the taxpayer and aren't able to come up with the funds for anything like that. How many of you supported aid and recovery for the first responders after 9/11? Do you remember, I know there was a big media push. I know Jon Stewart, for example, the talk show host, was a big leader in this. There was a big media push for Congress to do something to help the firefighters after 9/11 because they had a 140% increase in rates of cancer after responding to that disaster. That is a large-scale example, of course, of the services that firefighters provide and the great risk that they take. But I have no doubt Senator Storm, Senator Jacobson, Senator Raybould, all of you in opposition to this, Senator Hallstrom, were in great support of those measures from Congress to help those firefighters. This is smaller than that. This is nothing compared to something like that. But it's a way of helping people in a way that is quite affordable to